Oh, what's up, bro? YouTube, what's up, bro? I'm eating ice cream right now, bro. What's up, man? I just thought of you know what I'm saying, a random time, bro, to react to this video, man. Hey, man, say what's up, bro. We're gonna be watching this Australian video. Now, apparently, this video is based up in Australia, so we're just gonna be reacting to it. Your guy's boy named Fishy Pepe. Alright, let's go, bro.
Her name is Trudy Warwick. She looks happy and safe in her mother's arms. But this picture hides a disturbing secret. Wherever Trudy and her mom go, violent bombings follow. And the truth behind the attacks will uncover one of Australia's most notorious serial killers.
Justice Opes was shot in front of his Woollahra home.
For a bomb blast which ripped through a crowded Jehovah's Witness church hall.
Shards of glass impacted into the body of a 12-year-old girl.
Sydney's 10,000 witnesses must be wondering what they've done to draw such violence upon them.
The attacker, known as the family court bomber, terrorizes Sydney for years. And the entire community lives in fear, not knowing when or where they will strike next.
What the hell are you talking about?
Can't keep little Trudy safe because one man is willing to burn down Australia to get to her.
He stopped at nothing in his quest to
What connection does this guy have to the girl?
Because
That is
everybody that stood in his way,
daughter?
he went after all of them.
Everyone was scared of him. Everyone who confronted him, their lives were in danger.
The police told me.
Don't be scared out shot. Apparently this is
I
in
had
Sydney.
to do something to stop all those killings. What choice did I have?
It's
Carry
June
out.
1978. Andrea Warwick and her husband Leonard have just welcomed their first child, Trudy. They live in Casula, a suburb of Sydney.
Yeah,
Australia.
bro.
Leonard is a firefighter.
That was when Gexo was
He
one
spends
bit.
his time at
And
work
Rins and
rescuing
freaking
people.
Jake.
At home, he's controlling and violent to his wife. He quickly becomes possessive of their newborn daughter. He doesn't let anyone enter the
suburbs.
house or see her, even Andrea's friends and family. On Andrea's birthday, her sisters and their children try to visit, enraging Leonard.
And they knocked on the door, and he wasn't going to allow them to come in. So I just pushed past him and I said, they're coming in. After they left, he got violent. And he had his fireman boots on, and he stood on my leg and just thrashed into my arm. Ran in to try and pick up Trudy. I couldn't pick her
Is it
up.
captions? Oh,
My
this
arm
captions.
was
Let's go.
numb.
Let's get a chat.
Couldn't move it. I thought, this is it. She's going to kill me.
After years of enduring an abusive relationship, Andrea finds the strength to get out and tell her family.
Wait, so
She
what
runs
happened?
to safety at her sister Judy's house, pleading for friends and family.
And they knocked on the door. After they left, he got,
Oh,
my arm was bum.
Dad got too obsessive.
Family of Leonard's violence.
That was the first I knew. And I said to Andrea, why didn't you tell me? She said I was too ashamed and, I had no idea.
Because of how badly Leonard hurt her, Andrea
Damn.
couldn't get Trudy out of the house, but she won't give up her fight to get her back. She turns to the family law court to start the divorce process.
She full
hoping
custody.
They can help keep her daughter safe. She
Yo.
gets full custody of Trudy, and they move in with Andrea's dad, Leslie, and her brother Stephen. Leonard gets visiting rights, but it's not enough for him.
This is
He keeps
crazy.
their daughter longer than he's supposed to, completely ignoring the visitation schedule. Leonard doesn't care about the court's orders, and Andrea decides to confront him to get Trudy back. Worried that Leonard might hurt
But why
her
is she-
again,
why is she
Andrea
so
asks her brother
obsessed?
Stephen to go with her, and they approach Leonard together.
Stephen took Andrea up, knocked on the door and said, Len, look, we don't want any trouble. Because Stephen was very softly spoken. I don't think I ever heard him raise his voice.
Damn, chill out, boy.
Stephen calmly asks Leonard for Trudy, but Leonard slams the door closed, refusing to give her up. Andrea has to go back to court for help getting Trudy back, but they have no idea how far her father will go to keep her. It's February
Softly spoken
22nd,
dude is a dad,
1980.
right?
Andrea wakes up, expecting to say good morning to Stephen, but he's not in his room. At first, she doesn't think much of it, figuring he must be visiting his girlfriend or out surfing with his friends.
Well,
As hours pass without hearing from him, she starts to panic.
The Thursday night was the last time I
Oh,
saw
GG,
Steve. He
bro.
was on the phone talking to Mum. The following morning, and I noticed his bedding was
Oh,
gone.
GG's,
and his
bro.
car was gone.
Yeah,
Andrea
server,
makes phone
bro,
calls,
server.
But no one has seen Stephen since the night of February 21st. Something.
It's not looking
is
too good
horribly
right
wrong.
now.
Police come to investigate the house.
The
and
dude must
find
have taken
specks
him.
of blood in his bedroom. 6 days later, a group of friends are out boating at Cowan Creek in the Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park in northern Sydney. Suddenly, they see something floating in the water. They call the police, who take over and start their investigation.
Andrea says, we found Stephen. And I just automatically said, oh, is he all right? He says, we've got some bad
Oh
news.
no, bro.
That's what I told me.
It's going.
Police find
What
that
he said,
Stephen
weak.
Blanchard was shot and
Gotta
killed at
exercise,
home
bro.
in the middle of the night. The attacker likely used a silencer to avoid waking up the rest of the family.
Yo,
Then
you're
he drove
sad
to
ass. This guy might. I think he's dead too,
Howard
Ace.
Creek and used a boat so they could drop his body in
sad
the
ass.
middle of the water. His body was weighed down with bricks, and investigators find they were tied with a fireman's pocket line.
You
But
sure?
They don't discover any other evidence to help them catch the killer. The Blanchard family now has to face life without
Wow.
Stephen.
I was expecting him to walk home. Didn't expect that. He had his whole life ahead of him. He was 25 years old. He never hurt anyone.
You're
While grieving the
23.
loss of her brother, Andrea also has to continue her custody battle. Leonard keeps ignoring the court's orders, repeatedly keeping Trudy longer than he's
Damn,
supposed
bro.
to. April
Child,
1980.
we'll all call
Because
him.
of Leonard's constant disrespect of the family court, Justice David Opus says he can't see his daughter for a month. Leonard,
Let's just be real, bro. Bro. If I was 25, bro, everybody would be calling us like uncles, bro.
is
But you got a nerve, chat. Everyone in YouTube, bro. That's actually young as when you think about it. 25.
furious.
In fact, 18
When
is
he
like a
sees
whole
Andrea
baby
at the
still.
court building, he
18 is
observes
like the
an
start of your whole
ominous message.
adulthood or whatever.
He said to me, he says, "Oh, you don't have to worry about Judge Opus." I said, "Oh,
RIP
is he
though.
going away on holidays?" And he said, "Oh no, you just don't have to worry
Frick, I
about
think
it."
that was on code for Ace.
June 23rd, 1980, 7:10 p.m. 4 months after Stephen Blanchard's murder, Justice David Opus is having dinner with his wife.
This is
Kristen.
Australia,
He
Ace.
escapes Josh in Persia.
You know what
when
happens,
The
what
doorbell
happens?
rings. His son Josh tells him to stay at the table and not answer it, but he does. And when he goes to greet the person at the door, he is shot with a .22 caliber rifle. A man runs away from the scene, and Justice Opus's family rushes to his side, but it's
Hey
too
guys,
late.
boy.
After the phone call from the police and told me that Judge Opus was murdered, when I put the receiver down, I thought something's going on here. There's got to be a connection.
The lawyer. That was her side.
Andrea is already suspicious because Leonard was angry at Justice Opus for restricting his access to Trudy.
Yeah,
Andrea tells
obviously.
police
I'm
she
gonna
thinks
see.
Leonard is involved.
Guys, boy,
Investigators
good night,
search
Jet.
his locker at the fire station where
I
he
do
worked.
Aces
They
15
find
chat.
newspapers with
15
headlines
or
about the murder, but no
yeah,
physical
boy.
evidence that can link him to the scene. Leonard also refuses to answer any questions from the
Nah,
police.
it's so obvious, sir. It looks so obvious.
As a family
Like the fact that they're all missing, they're all connected to the whole situation, bro.
court
Like,
justice, David Opus dealt with many people who could want revenge for his orders. 30 detectives work on the case. They
Damn,
interview
30.
over 500 people who appeared in front of Justice Opus in court, along with 2,500 people who bought rifles.
What
in
the
last
hell?
6 months.
2,500.
Clues will get closer to an arrest, and a killer is on the loose. The people of Sydney worry that the whole family court system is the target. Another family court justice, Richard G., takes over Justice Opus's cases after his murder, and his family fears they could be next.
Well, I knew that Justice Opus had been shot dead, and then Dad said they've offered me the job to replace him. And I just had this, well, I don't know, call it sixth sense that something was going to happen to us.
intuition. It's called intuition.
Years pass without any other attacks, and the paranoia begins to fade. Andrea tries to give Trudy a happy childhood, but the nightmare is far from over. March 6th, 1984, almost 4 years after Justice Opus's murder, Justice Richard G. is at home with his children,
Oh, no,
Allison
GG.
and Stephen. It's around 1:45.
Oh
a.m.
no,
when they're
GG,
all
bro.
asleep. Suddenly, a bomb goes
Yo.
off, destroying most of the home.
I just heard a really loud clap of thunder, the loudest I'd ever heard. Just saw debris all in my room, and it was just like I'd woken up in a movie or a nightmare.
Allison finds her brother, and they frantically try to get out of the house, desperately hoping their dad also made it out. They make it out safely through a window. They find their dad around the back of the house, injured, but alive.
He was covered
Okay,
in
okay,
debris
okay.
dust. Over his whole body looked like a ghost, except that he had blood pouring down his legs from his thighs. I just cried. I just felt really sad. Just looks like a war zone.
Miraculously, the whole family
So this is
survives,
all based in
but it's
Australia.
clear someone is still out for revenge. Right away, police warn other judges to check their homes and cars, and they search family courts across Australia. Investigators
Well,
also look
guess
into
we'll find
other
out.
cases that Justice Richard G. oversaw. Andrea again tells them that Leonard is the culprit. Justice G had further restricted Leonard's access to Trudy, and he even issued an arrest warrant when he failed to return her.
This was an attack on the
Like, the thing is with like all the cops and like the justice system, whatever, bro, is that they dead ass need evidence, but sometimes it gets so obvious to a point where like we don't even need evidence. Like,
of justice in Australia. Judges
you know,
would make a
you know what I'm saying?
ruling against him, and he responded with lethal force.
We wanted justice served. It's Leonard John Warwick. I said, he is the only person. Every time I spoke
damn.
Andrea
He was
knows
right
that
too.
Texas violence
They need
is
actual
getting
evidence so
closer
you could.
and closer
Facts.
to her, and she has to continuously face the man hunting her in court. Their next court appearance was scheduled.
But with the way they've been like with the way like the girl kept on telling you know what I'm saying, like the judges and like the cops that it was him. It should be like one of like the, you know what I'm saying, main priorities, cause like just think about it, bro. She's been spamming it the whole time. Like, why would you not delve deeper into his case, like into like what he's doing and so like that?
Just over a month
Just
after
kept
the
dying.
bomb at Justice G's house.
Damn.
But in the middle of the night before Leonard was supposed to appear, the family law court building itself is
This is a
largely
freaking
destroyed
battery.
as another bomb detonates. Fear and panic is spreading throughout Sydney. Again, Andrea alerts investigators about Leonard's connection to the attacks.
What?
But still, he continues to
Like, they're not
walk
even
free
gonna bother
because
like investigating him, bro.
clear to Andrea
This is
that
the
no
thing.
one can keep her and Trudy safe
Like,
from
she's,
him, not
you
even
know,
the
spamming
police.
it so much
He
times.
doesn't leave evidence behind.
She's been like, you
Unless
know what I'm
someone
saying?
can get him to stop, anyone with connections to the family court is in danger.
We did know that the offender was Warwick. Everything was done that could be done at the time. We couldn't gather enough evidence to charge him.
Stank and romper ass.
As Justice Richard G. recovers from his injuries after the bombing at his house, Ray Watson takes over his cases, including Leonard and Andrews.
Oh, you gotta watch
even
out,
with
bro.
fear and suspicion growing.
Child, that
Andrea
dude has
still
to watch
respects
out.
the visitation rights set by the court. Trudy loves her father and is happy to see him, but Andrea has to keep returning to court because Leonard still ignores the court's orders.
One time I didn't see Trudy for 6 weeks.
Wow, 6?
Didn't even know where she was.
Like the other judges, Justice Watson punishes Leonard by
You
restricting
didn't
his
see her for
access to
42
Trudy.
days. What?
It's July 4th, 1984, 8:10 a.m. Almost 3 months after the family court bombing, Justice Watson gets ready to leave for work. His wife Pearl opens the door of their house, unknowingly triggering a bomb that was fixed to their front door. Ray Watson survives, but Pearl is killed instantly.
Damn.
The people of Sydney, stunned and heartbroken, demand answers. After
I wouldn't have been in
Watson's
Sydney
murder,
in the 80s there, bro. I just would have been in the
efforts.
Philippines.
A joint federal state police task
I'm not gonna
force
lie, around
is
this time if I
established,
was born, this
and
time, chat, I
$500
would be in the
million reward
Philippines.
is offered.
I will be speaking Filipino right now. I'll be like 30, bit.
And their families will have a 24-hour surveillance until this matter is resolved.
We had federal surveillance officers and state surveillance officers. We used up virtually every surveillance officer
Facts,
in
sir.
New South Wales in Australia.
Make an edit. Which edit?
Surveillance officers follow the prime suspect, Leonard Warwick, desperate
Oh,
to
yeah,
find
yeah,
something they
I
can
thought it was
use
someone
to
else,
catch
that's
him
him.
and put a stop to all the attacks. In the middle of the night, they follow him to a national park.
You need
We kept
ideas,
going
right?
Back to the national park.
Yeah.
On a total of 11 occasions. We went in with police.
But like
dogs
content
out
ideas,
and
content
wide out of
ideas.
the area.
So make
It was
ATIG edit.
never really
The frick? I don't make
obvious
edits
what
though.
he was doing there. I put it down to the fact that he was playing games with the
Maybe I could get help
surveillance
from you guys.
February 10th, 1985. Police tell Andrea there was an attempt on her lawyer's life with another bomb. Fortunately, it was found before it could detonate, and
Sure.
no one was hurt. But shortly after, she gets a call from her lawyer, Gary Watts.
He said, I won't be able to act on your behalf. And that was it. He was scared. He was frightened. And I don't blame him.
But wouldn't it make
Never
sense?
met a person as dangerous as what Leonard Warwick is. He stopped at nothing in his quest to keep custody of his daughter. He
Why
took
is
it
nobody
to
pressing this dude, chat?
personally,
Did anybody even press him? That
because
dude named
everybody
Leonard
was
Warwick.
in his
See some
way,
Sigma-ish.
he went after all of them.
Hey, yo.
Fear is spreading throughout Australia.
Or said
Anyone
Sigma.
could be a target, and no one can help Andrea. Even police are scared about their involvement in the investigation.
They should have been like, it's me.
Officer said, "Look, I think we've got a
Like Kai Cenat, chat. They should have been like,
because
it's
we're
me.
in the park watching police headquarters. A witness that I interviewed said he was looking for my address. The wife and the
Say
kid guy
something.
had his photo, his police photo on the fridge. But if he was ever sighted in the neighbourhood,
You say something
they
in
would
character with your
notify us
camera zoomed in.
As Leonard intimidates the police with his own surveillance, the attacks keep getting closer to home for Andrea. All the while, she tries to shield Trudy from the violence that haunts them, and it's taking a massive toll. Leonard already has his eyes on his next target, as he makes phone calls to Andrea's sister, Judy, threatening to kill her and her children.
The police told me you're next on his hit list.
Every noise.
I can't right now because I'm making a video
We were
on
looking
YouTube.
over our shoulder all that time. We were going to be next.
Even though Andrea and the police believe Leonard is responsible for all the attacks, they still haven't been able to find anything they can use to arrest him. They've tried surveillance, offering reward money, and putting numerous detectives and resources into their
Bro, I heard a
efforts,
story
but
one
nothing is
time.
working.
Heard a story one time, bro, guys. Someone got a phone call, right? It was like at nighttime, I think. It was weird as. Imagine getting a call at night, and then you answer the phone, right? And you don't hear anything, you just hear laughing. Like, someone told me that story one time. That was scary as. They said all they heard was laughing through the phone line, bro.
Andrea is terrified. Leonard stalks her.
Imagine that. That would've been scary as.
House and watching her every move. One day, he shows up at the house and yells at Andrea, demanding to see Trudy for an unscheduled
Imagine getting a
visit.
call
When she
midnight
says
and
no,
you hear a
he
laugh,
grabs Trudy
fishy.
anyway and starts to run. But Andrea chases
Just
him,
hear a laugh. They
refusing
don't say
to let him
anything. They
take
just
her
start
away.
laughing. That would
In
be
response,
scary
he punches
as.
Andrea in the face. Shocked, she quickly gets Trudy and runs back inside, locking the doors behind them. Andrea is desperate to get herself and
Then
her
they hang
family
up.
away
GG's.
from
You get
his
paranoid,
violence.
bro.
Even with the
You
threat
Herm
to
alone.
her life,
Ooh. And you
Andrea's
set up the
sister
Herm alone
Judy
traps.
steps in.
Fishy.
A devout Jehovah's
Herm alone
Witness,
traps.
Judy turns to her congregation.
Hey, yo!
They need to escape in secret to stay safe from
Yo!
Leonard. The congregation steps up, helping them move
Gosh.
away so they could hide.
Herm alone
You
traps.
didn't tell anyone? Why we were moving?
Even the drivers of the truck didn't know where we were heading until an hour before we got to Foster. No one knew. We sort of made it a fun game for the kids. A drill that if ever Len found us,
Damn.
we had an escape plan to get out.
Andrea does all she can to protect her daughter from Leonard and the destruction that follows them. Leonard doesn't know where Andrea and Trudy went,
Well,
but
let's
he won't
go.
give up his search. He makes multiple phone calls to members of Judy's congregation, demanding to know where they are.
There was a third call. He was very upset. He again said, "You must know where she's gone." Listen, mate, I said, "We don't know where she's gone. Do not
Yeah,
call
mate.
here again."
Watching a video right now on her
July
head on YouTube.
1985.
Damn.
5 months after Andrea and Trudy made their escape, Leonard
Scared.
hasn't found them, and there haven't been any more attacks. But there are 2 break-ins at the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall in Casula, southwest of Sydney. During one of the
Sydney.
break-ins, the window shatters and cuts the intruder. They leave blood on the carpet, but with the limited capabilities of the time, investigators can only determine that it's O positive,
Blood
and
type?
they can't use it to charge anyone. They don't find that anything was stolen, and no one knows
Ooh, you
why
guys,
the
boy.
intruder broke in or what they did. It's
Guys,
Sunday,
boy,
July
know him.
21st, 1985. The congregation
That's 2
starts their
days
service
before
like
my
usual.
birthday.
There are over 100 members in the building,
Yeah.
including Joy Wikes and her husband, Graham.
We were holding hands, and I thought, oh, his hand would be really cold. So we had a small rug over our knee, and I pulled it up over our hands, and he turned to me and whispered, "I love you." And that was the last thing I remember.
Damn.
My first memories was really in ICU. I had already been into surgery. I recall asking, "Where's my husband? Where's my husband?" all afternoon. A doctor came and told me, "We do
Back
have
to that.
bad news
Jeez.
for you."
Can't imagine it right now, fishy.
I'd been asking.
Wanna know why?
And I must have
You know why.
realised that he wasn't going to be there.
A bomb was placed
February
under the
14th.
stage at the Kingdom Hall. Time to go off during the service.
I should do like a
Graham
story
Wikes
time
is
on
killed,
February
and
14th.
Dozens more have life-threatening injuries, including little children. The Blanchard family is devastated to hear the news.
I just burst out crying. I could not speak for a long time.
They announced that the hall had been bombed. My daughter Natasha was standing next to me and she said, "Mum, that was Len." My whole body was shaking. And I rang down the bomb squad. They had their suspicions. And I said, "That's my congregation." They said, "Oh, that's what the connection is."
Joy Wikes had helped the Blanchards pack for their escape, and Andrea
Crazy,
blames
bro.
herself for Graham's death and all the injuries at the Kingdom Hall. Police take a search warrant to Leonard's house, and they find handwritten notes with phone numbers of Jehovah's
Like, why did
Witnesses.
it take this
He
long?
refuses to answer any questions or give a blood sample. Their attempts to catch him are still hopeless.
Everyone was scared of
Someone
him.
should have just juked him.
Everyone who confronted
Hooked him.
him, their lives were in danger.
The attacks continue to follow Andrea everywhere she goes, even when she escapes Leonard's stalking. She is overwhelmed with sadness, fear, and guilt. She knows what Leonard wants, and that
They
people
didn't give
throughout
him
Australia
permission.
will continue to die unless he
People
gets
bro.
it. Andrea makes a heartbreaking choice in a desperate attempt to end his reign of terror. She gives him full custody of their daughter Trudy.
I had to do something to stop all these killings.
Does this
It
make
was
you?
heartbreaking saying goodbye to her, but I had to. What choice did I have?
Over the course of nearly 10 years, Andrea has suffered
Yeah, what?
immensely. She was in a physically and emotionally abusive relationship. She made custody of their daughter Trudy.
Damn,
I
why
had
would you
to
do that?
something to stop all these killings. It was heartbreaking saying
Bro, but what happened to her though?
goodbye to her, but I...
Over the course of nearly 10 years,
What's gonna happen to
Andrea
the
has suffered
daughter?
immensely. She was in a physically and emotionally abusive relationship. She
So
made the
she
brave
looked
choice
like
to get
some
out,
dream,
but
but
her
it was
fight
black
never
and
stopped. Her own brother was murdered, and
What the
after
hell?
4 bombings, 3 more murders, and families ripped apart by violence and destruction, Andrea knows she is the only one who can stop the family court bomber. Trudy also wants to live with her father, exhausted from constantly moving around and being in the middle of the fighting between
It's not
her
a good
parents.
idea, bro.
As
People
Andrea
like bombed
predicted,
everything.
the attacks come to an abrupt end, but with a huge sacrifice. Leonard Ward is still a completely free man, and now he has their daughter too. It had a massive
But she
impact,
kept keeping her
and she
in the
never stopped fighting for justice.
How do you
What would you guys have done?
You think about it all the time?
It's controversial, I'm not gonna lie.
She going to school? Does she get along with her father?
Was it for the greater good, Fishy?
Trudy
But it
spends
makes
her
sense
childhood
there.
living with Leonard, who many think of as the family court bomber. At first, she likes living with her father. He even buys horses for them to ride together. But as she gets older,
Yeah, bro.
she realizes how controlling he is. He constantly
Oh,
tries
no.
to keep her in the house,
Story
away from
gets-
friends and family. And when he decides to remarry and start a new family, Trudy isn't happy. At 16 years old, she leaves to move back in with her mom. And shockingly, Leonard doesn't stop her.
He chose the wife over his daughter.
Yeah.
This is the daughter he fought so hard for.
Yes.
And so he bombed the place just
His
for that?
daughter was just a possession.
After getting everything he wanted and all the destruction and suffering he caused, Leonard lets his target Trudy go easily. Finally, Andrea is reunited with her daughter,
mean,
but they still aren't truly free of...
We won. Aren't still truly free, so he killed all those people. Yeah, just to get the daughter, right? But at 16, he just lets her go. What the heck?
Leonard.
So he just basically did all that for nothing.
As Trudy grows older, she gets a better understanding of what happened when she was little. From the beginning, Trudy's mom has repeatedly told police that Leonard Ward is
took
the man
16
who
years from
terrorized
her.
Sydney for years. Despite her efforts, he thinks he will get away with everything,
Yes,
and for
what?
decades, he does, until one mistake will come back to haunt him. It becomes one of the coldest cases in Australian
Damn.
history.
Cold
Andrea
case,
had no
huh?
one to turn to, but in 2012, investigative crime journalists Debbie Marshall and Ross Coulthard hear of the case and decide to investigate. But everywhere they turn for information, they're warned. The prime suspect is still free, and pursuing the story could get them killed. Debbie Marshall even tries to interview Leonard, and he threatens her. But the
Ooh.
journalists work together with Andrea Blanchard to bring attention back to the case, all of them refusing to back down in their fight for justice.
Just
With the
stand on
help of their
business.
work and the release of Debbie Marshall's book, investigators reopened the cold case. Kevin
Stand on
Woods,
business,
the
bro.
former lead investigator, never forgot about the family court bomber. He remembers the bloodstain left on the carpet before the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall bombing, when an intruder was cut with the glass from a window. They didn't know it at the time, but the attacker broke in to plant the bomb. Kevin
Yeah.
Woods tells the current investigators about the blood sample, which could be the
Be the
key to exposing the
identify.
person behind all the attacks.
Do they get him?
Detectives asked Trudy if she would give a DNA sample for them to compare it with. At first, she hesitates. She still loves her father, and she's worried about betraying him. She knows it could send him to jail if it's a match, but she wants the truth for herself and for all the other victims' families. In an interview, she says, "People need answers, closure. Innocent people were killed over me." If you commit something like these crimes, you should be held accountable for it. I don't care who you are.
Facts.
With advancements in DNA technology, they are
Spitting.
able to match the blood with Trudy's, removing any doubt that Leonard Warwick is the culprit behind all the attacks. It's July 29, 2015. Is the culprit. They are able to match the blood with Trudy's, removing any doubt that Leonard Warwick is the culprit behind all the attacks. It's July 29, 2015. Over 35 years after he began terrorizing the people of Sydney, Leonard Warwick's past finally catches up to him.
Tonight, an arrest over one of Sydney's biggest unsolved crimes. A man in custody over the family court bombings and murders in the 1980s.
The judge-only trial lasts almost 2 years. Ward pleads not guilty to over 20 charges against him, but with the overwhelming evidence and the help of Andrea's testimony, he's convicted, and he gets 3 life sentences without parole. Leonard Warwick is finally behind bars, and he will never be able to hurt anyone again. After nearly 40 years of living in fear, Andrea can truly begin to move on with her life. She still has a very close relationship with Judy and Trudy, and they continue to honor Stephen's memory today. Andrea hopes her story will bring awareness and support to survivors of domestic violence. She encourages others in similar situations to get out of the relationship and seek help.
You've got to think of yourself, and if there's children involved, you've got to think of the children's lives. It's a hard battle to get back on your feet, but there's so much help out there today. I say to any woman, you don't have to stand for that. There's no need to stand for that violence.
You gotta stand on business, or the woman.
Andrea stood up for herself to escape
Just stand on business, bro.
With the help of others who never gave up, she brought justice for so many families throughout Australia who were impacted by the attacks.
You can't explain the feeling. It's not a good club to be in, but yes, we're a family.
Go 7
I
years
bought
and 9
Andrea
years.
and I a ring, and I say every time we get down, we look at that ring and we say we survived.
Pay attention to the girl looking straight into the camera. To most people, Annette Craver looks like a regular teenage girl, but something isn't quite right.
Boy? Who's that yuck ass boy? But anyways, bro, I think that was it, bro, for this video, man. That was a crazy ass video, bro. Hey, they took ages just to actually like reach, bro. They took ages just for him to get arrested, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, the girl kept on saying thing happened in rare places. Guys, boy.